Welcome to the Darkstream, Voxday, voxday.blogspot.com, and of course, unauthorized.tv. So we're talking about crushing tonight, and of course, as many of you know, that's exactly what the Big Bear's been doing. The show in Portland, by all accounts, went extremely well. A little bit of audio trouble, and tonight they are in Idaho, and I presume that it's going to be going even better there. First of all, thank you, Marie. She's celebrating the crushing it in a big way. She sent $100 and said, "For the crush, way to go, Coddington." For those of you who are not already up on that, I will explain what she's talking about there. And then we've got some other stuff that I want to share with you. And I think some of you, not all of you, but some of you are going to be pretty stoked about it. Especially those of you who keep asking me about my library. So, but first, we've got 400 folks here, so let's go ahead and show what I was talking about earlier. So I got to switch the sound over. Just a moment. So I think that definitely qualifies as crushing by any standard. It was kind of fun because I had a very different concept in mind, but I can't argue with that. I can't argue with that at all. We actually have something. We actually put together something that is more similar to the intro from this show, but so we'll make use of it elsewhere. Because frankly, I thought Coddington's intro was much better myself. Yeah, I mean, the best part is it's totally organic. It's totally spontaneous. You know, hearing that roar is just amazing. And so, you know, I can't wait to see how that's going to come out in the special and come out in the documentary. Because what we're doing is intentionally destroying the narrative. We know what the narrative is about Owen. And it's completely false. And so, exactly, 0 laugh tracks were used. The Big Bear doesn't need a laugh track because he can actually deliver humor. Yeah, everybody said that the energy was really astonishing. I suspect it is much the same tonight. And yeah, there's a documentary coming. We have a film crew that is at all 4 shows and is also traveling with Owen. In fact, we're doing a limited edition signed collector's DVD that'll have the documentary and the special and some extra footage. If you go to archavencomics.com, you can. I think there's about 145 of them left. We're only producing 250, and that's it. You'll still be able to see it. Everyone who's subscribed to Unauthorized is going to have access to it. and um, you can also buy a download as well. The whole idea of like selling the T-shirts that we were talking about last week, um, selling the downloads for those who aren't subscribers, even to some who are subscribers. The whole point was to support the tour, to make it work, make it possible, and it went better than I estimated. Ghost Bear wants to know if any bear is going to the Ohio show. He has an extra ticket. His buddy bailed on him. So if you want to go to the Ohio show, touch base with Ghost Bear. I have no idea how Owen got from one place to another. I don't, I don't get involved with those sorts of details. Let's see here. Question about unauthorized. If I subscribe to Owen, do I get to see the other people's videos? Yes, you get every subscription gets access to everything. We don't do a paywall between subscriptions. The subscriptions are about support, so you can focus on supporting Owen, you can focus on supporting David or Chuck, or you can just support the channel, whatever you like. I think 11 is a little bit too young for Alt Hero, but not it's getting close. Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised that there's always going to be, stuff that Alaska Bear said, it is said he rides a wild grizzly bear from show to show. I like that idea. Rooster in the Hen says, awesome. Thank you, Vox. I will be subscribing very soon now with that info. Great. Welcome aboard. Nameless Bear says medieval history is worth it alone. There's actually a new episode of medieval history that's going up tomorrow. There's also a new episode of Barcelona Life that's up. It's just one step at a time. In fact, the tour documentary probably will not be the first original documentary that we release. I'm not going to say any more than that. But what video games did you work on? I worked on lots of them. Probably the two best known were Rebel Moon Rising, or the three best known would be Rebel Moon Rising, Hot Dish, and Age of Conan. One of the reasons why I get respect in the industry that I don't get in the gaming community is because one of the designs that I was pitching GT on and tried very, very hard to get them to do was a World War II shooter. And they were convinced that nobody was interested in that kind of thing. And then after Medal of Honor and Call of Duty came out, I got emails from lots of people saying, maybe if we had listened to you, we'd still be around. So, Scott says, boomer life, he's talking about Barcelona life, is addicting. Almost makes me forgive the whole generation. Well, keep in mind, Elizabeth is Gen X. So, we can only point the finger at Farley. And we do. Do you miss the roar of the crowd from when you used to tour Vox or not really? I never toured anywhere for any reason. We played a few shows in Minneapolis. It was fun. And I once did a martial arts demo under the lights with industrial music playing. That was actually kind of fun. But I'm not a stage guy. I don't do public speaking. I don't do public appearances. I don't play on stage. So I was always much more interested in the studio band stuff. let's see here. Yeah, there's actually a couple. There's actually a couple pictures I was sent by folks who were there. Let me grab one of them here. This is a good. This is a good picture. And this kind of gives you a sense of the space. It was this big warehouse. There was a minor problem, or actually a moderate problem with the audio, especially with the music. So unfortunately that, but again, one step at a time. So the goal is to keep improving, keep getting better. Nothing to prove said, I studied Shorinru growing up. Do you do the traditional katas? Do would not be the correct term. Past tense, did, yes. We did all the traditional katas. I'll never forget doing one of the nunchuck katas and forgetting to put my hand up. Catching myself in the back of the head. That was fun. Coddington was the guy who blew the trumpet. Exactly. No, I'm not going to any of the shows. So, when he does a European tour, maybe I'll attend one or two. Daniel Craig says, "Hey Vox, I recently became an unauthorized subscriber, and it's the best money I ever spent. Thanks." Well, thank you. Frankly, I find that shocking, but I'm pleased to hear it. I'm glad you find it of value. One of my continual focuses in everything we do is to try to provide more value than you think. Now, there's certain areas where I've fallen down on that. Brainstorm subscribers know that. Voxiversity subscribers know about that. Those are two things I need to fix. But in general, we try to reliably provide greater value than our backers and then our supporters are expecting. That's the objective. That's the goal. Why couldn't Owen come to Tennessee? Because he didn't have a venue. It's very difficult for him to get venues. Blurple Bear, by the way, has 5 tickets for the Ohio show. If anybody needs them, he says let him know. So, yeah, I mean, the thing is, a show has been great when you see the reaction of people afterwards. And a lot of the people that were at Portland were talking about how it was just, the environment, the energy continued after the show. I mean, I remember for me, it was like that after the Baby Metal show. It was just everybody was still into the whole Kitsune up sort of thing. Westside Bear said, we tried and failed twice in Nashville, a problem that has to be remedied. Yeah, I mean, we're all in this together. We are. That's what makes this whole unauthorized, reprehensible Dread Ilk Bear alliance so effective, is because we do all work on this together. And, and some people were able to come through in their areas and other people were not. No shame in it. We actually were planning, the whole thing was supposed to be planned around Atlanta, and it just didn't work out. Joshua Poor said, I didn't clear my schedule because Ohio sold out. I'll check work. Yeah, just check it out. See if you can, if you see if you can get free. There's a couple people that have extra tickets that they're willing to resell or share or whatever. Rooster then says, I have 110 acres in Tennessee. We've talked about that. Here we go. See, we need people like this. Anthony Volpita says, I'm the manager of the Art Theater in Hobart. We're very excited to host Owen. I'm glad. I mean, Anthony has been a warrior. You know, I mean, I've seen some of the stuff, and you guys are going to see some of this stuff on the documentary. Um, you know, Anthony has taken more heat than the average person can withstand. Um, but he's there. You know, he toughed it out, and they're going to it's going to crush at that event. Anthony, I don't know if you saw the video clip that we just showed of the Owen of House Bear approaches, but um, the energy there is going to be off the charts, no question. But here's the thing, is that with each victory, with each individual who stands up to be counted, it becomes easier for the next person. With each venue, it becomes easier for the next venue. One of the reasons why I will always be very, very sympathetic to John C. Wright, and I contacted John and said, hey, I love your stuff, would love to publish some of your stuff. His response was, oh, you're the guy that's standing up to the SJWs in science fiction. Absolutely, I'll do it. And so, and just that one person then gives other people the confidence and the courage to do the same. Imagine how the SJWs feel when they see that clip. Do you know how they actually feel? They're actually frightened. Imagine how the Gammas, who have been trying to push their false narrative about Owen feel. That's just utterly, well, it's a little bit redundant in their case, but it's just utterly emasculating for them, because it demonstrates how completely their lies have been exposed. And so, that's why that's why we've had over, 80 people, it's between 75 and 80 people have contacted me saying they would like to be on unauthorized. And so, okay, all right. I have a request to show it again. It's not really my style, but we will do it again by popular demand. This is a repeat of the video that we just showed. That's not just a comedy show. That's like a rock concert. And that's the level of enthusiasm that the reprehensibles have. That's the level of enthusiasm that the Bears have. And I think it's fantastic. I think it's tremendously encouraging. You can, like somebody said, you can feel that positive energy. And the thing is, we don't need somebody said, now Sweet Tea Bear is still on a high. Yeah, and the thing is that what people are learning is that they can't simply deplatform, discredit, and destroy us with impunity. They can't. You know, they can try, but what they know is that they come for us, we come for them. And we're a lot more enthusiastic than they are. You know, we're a lot more determined than they are. The fact that all we wanted to do is be left alone. They didn't leave us alone. Then they tried to banish us. What are we supposed to do? We have no choice. We have to win. And we have to win regularly. And that's what we do. You know, when we get knocked down, we get up. Couple questions here. Yeah, exactly. This goes back to Gamergate. You know, there's a great, absolutely. This is probably my favorite meme of all time. And you know, you've probably seen it on the blog on several occasions, just because I tend to post it every now and then, just because I like it so much. Let me see here. Where is it? You know, and it's a Gamergate meme. As you know, I am an original Gamergator. Quite proud to be. And I'm not sure if... Okay, I need to do the thumbnail thing because I can't actually see what they are. But the thing about Gamergate is it was a bunch of people that just basically wanted to play games and be left alone. But the media attacked us. You know, and whatever you've heard, whatever you've taken away from the media narrative and stuff, as you've probably learned by now, is completely false. There's nothing true about it from the beginning. But, okay, where are we? Oh, right. This is my favorite one of all time. Excuse the language, but it says, "Fucking Gamergate, man. I just fucking wanted to play video games, and here I am rooting out ancient one-world government cabals and pedophilia rings. What the actual fuck?" You know, all we wanted to do was play games. I just wanted to play games and make games. I didn't want to do videos. I don't want to be a YouTuber. It's literally never, ever occurred to me in my entire life. I'm not a performer. I don't want to be on stage. Why am I even here talking with 907 people for an hour? You know, because I didn't get a choice. I was never given a choice. And neither are you. None of you were ever given a choice. So here we are, you know? I mean, Gamergate memes are the best. They're so, of course, you know, now that we're, there's another one that just cracked me up that I saw as I was, I mean, I have like literally thousands of them here. Oh, this was the other one. This was probably the main one. Yes. You know, all we wanted to do was play our games. But, you know, we got drafted by the enemy. You know, so here we are. Fine. Somebody said, what was this? Yeah, I mean, that cracks me up. Now I have a page on IMDb. How did that happen? It's just insane. It's just totally insane. But here we are, you know. Um, anyhow, people are asking, where can they get the special and the special, the DVD, and the documentary? You can do it here. It's right on the front page. So if you go there, Blurple Bear said, I literally stopped playing Borderlands 3 to listen. Um, yeah, well, we've had the 4-digit viewer count before. I think the record is like 1,800. Dr. Jeep says that's why the SJW does not really want you to think there are 5 lights instead of 4. Right? They're not trying to confuse you. They're trying to. They want you to submit to them. They want you to say it, and say it knowing that it's false, and know that you're saying it out of submission. That's exactly right. That's what they want. Duralex said, this game is more fun to play and even more satisfying to win anyway. Exactly. Crescendo Bear says, hey Vox, I am introducing 2 or 3 people a day to the Darkstream and unauthorized TV. That's awesome. That's one of the ways that we win. I mean, that is crushing. Absolutely. Yeah, literally who and literally who to and literally woo. Eh. Um, yeah, it's funny how they keep popping up in different places. So speaking of other new ways to crush and so forth, a lot of you have asked about my library, and you've asked about. I mean, you know that I like to collect books and all that sort of thing, and so um, anyhow, this is part of why I was late tonight, because what I've been working on today is um, making books like these available. The really high quality leather bound books. This is one of my prized possessions. It's a signed first edition Foucault's Pendulum, signed by Umberto Eco. Um, and why is it important to do books these way? Why do they matter? I mean, you can get the ebook, you can get our regular um, paperbacks and hardcovers and stuff. Why does it matter? What's the point? Well, the books that are bound like this, they last. They last. And this is my Italian Bible, La Sacra Bibbia. But here's the real reason why. Guess how old this book is? Anyone want to guess? I'll give you a hint. And don't look it up. I'm looking it up. This is a dissertation upon parties. It's the 5th edition of it, published in London. I'm hearing guesses 200 years, 1930s, 1825, 12 years, 10 years. It's not 666 years, Rocky Mountain Bear. You guys actually got farther. Some of you actually got farther away on the hint. This was actually printed in London for R. Franklin in Rufflefreet, Covent Garden, 1739. So this book was published in 1739. It's actually older than the United States. And I actually picked it up sometime in a used bookstore for not terribly much money. To the Right Honorable Sir Robert Walpole, Knight of the Most Noble Order of the Garter. Yes, I know it's an S. I just enjoy reading it that way. Chancellor and Under Treasurer of the Exchequer. First Commissioner of the Treasury and one of His Majesty's most honourable Privy Council, etc. Sir, as soon as the demand of the public made it necessary to collect the following papers together and to prepare a second edition of them, I took the resolution of addressing them to you. Dun, 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 dun. The dedication actually goes on. The dedication is literally 31 pages. Sir, your most humble servant, the author of the dissertation upon parties. The thing that's so funny about it is the entire book with index. Okay, so the entire book is 245 pages. No, a little bit more than that. It's 246 pages long, but the dedication is 31 pages. So here's the point. These books last. These books will last. And so so that's why, part of our objective, part of our goal, part of why we created Castelia House is in order to preserve knowledge for the future. I do think print will prove a more durable medium than digital. And so, one of the things that we've wanted to do for a long time is to publish our more important books in leather. And it's also a way to make sure that appeal to the elitists and the book collectors and all that sort of stuff. Maybe this is a little bit crazy. Maybe this is my elitism coming out or whatever, but it's something that we've always wanted to do. And so, what we're doing is, what we're going to be doing is, the problem, of course, is that these books are pretty expensive. They're going to cost. Our goal is basically to make all of them available for about $99 a piece. It's possible that that we might have to go a little bit higher for the really, really big books. It's also possible that we can bring the price down a bit on the smaller ones. So what we've decided to do, and this is my question for you, and I'd like you to email me. I mean, you can go ahead and mention it in the chat, but I don't keep track of the chats. Go ahead and email me if you're interested in either of, no, I never ever write in any of my books as I read. I would never write in a book. It offends and appalls me when people write in books. Just not happening ever. But so what we're going to do, there's two things that are happening now. Number one, we expect that the Junior Classic campaign will probably be launched within 2 weeks. Almost certainly going to be The Missionaries and Summa Helvetica and Other Stories. Assume the price of both is going to be $99 a piece. If you happen to be interested in either or both of those, please shoot me an email and let me know. The other thing that we're going to do is that we're going to, once we do those, we're going to set up a subscription service that we're planning to do 6 books a year. And so people can sign up for it for $50 a month, and they'll get a book every other month. They'll get a leather-bound book every other month. And so if this happens to be of any interest to you, just shoot me an email, voxday@blogspot.com. What we want to try, no, this is not for the Collier Classics. That's going to be a crowdfunding thing. This is an experiment. This is something that we are experimenting on. Yeah, it's going to be like a book club, but it's going to be a, for lack of a better term, it's going to be a Castalia Deluxe book club. $50 a month, and every other month you get a new leather-bound book that we publish. But we can't do that yet. We can't do the subscription stuff yet. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and jump in, and we're going to produce the first two books, the first two deluxe leather-bound books. One will be The Missionaries. The other will be Summa Helvetica and Other Stories. If you're interested, go ahead and shoot us or shoot me an email and let me know, because it's going to be very, very important to be able to get to a minimum number that will make the whole system more viable. I mean, if we here, if interested, email voxday@gmail.com and subject Castalia Deluxe. So, and of course, it will also include we'll include an ebook while we're at it. It's an interesting question, JB14. Any chance for Awaken the Nightland? We were actually debating whether to do Awaken the Nightland first or Summa Helvetica first, and we ended up going with Summa Helvetica because it is easier for them to convert the paperback books rather than the hardcovers and so forth. So I'll get to the if you send me any book authored by Al Gore, I'll burn it. I'll burn the whole damn book, even if it's wrapped in leather. You don't have to worry about that. We're going to be doing the books that we publish. Like, for example, some of the first books that we plan to do are going to be the 10 books of the There Will Be War series. Those are great books. We'll probably be doing significant books like for example, we might work out a joint edition of A History of Strategy with the Fourth Generation Warfare Handbook. So we're not going to, trust me, we're only going to do books that are worth doing. Something that I would love to do is I'd love to get the History of the Peninsular War and the Cambridge Medieval History series. I'd love to get those redone. I've got a copy of both of those there, but they're extraordinarily expensive, even just to get these old canvas cover books. They can go for several $1,000s. And so the leather, brand new Castalia Deluxe leather-bound books would actually be less expensive. So, so this is all part of the same thing. This is, we're definitely going to be doing the history books. Absolutely, we're going to do, we're even thinking about doing like a set, like for example, Charles Oman's History of England. There's a good history of Sweden that I've read. We can find good histories of Rome, etc., etc. The goal is going to be to preserve the knowledge that's in these old books, because what we're seeing is that the SJWs are actively attempting to destroy history. Smart Alec Production says, my Cambridge medieval history books are in worse condition than the 1700s party book. Exactly. Delaware says, I got the Cambridge History Complete for $80 on eBay. Well, I mean, that's a phenomenal price if you got the 1911 edition. Yeah, Innate Wisdom Bear says, this sounds like a homeschool slam dunk. Exactly. That's what we're aiming at. We're aiming at heirloom editions that you, your kids, your grandkids, and their kids can all keep and learn from. So, Hey Vox, I have a school history book from the early 1930s. You wouldn't believe the stuff that's in it. Oh, I have no doubt. Uh, um, we have the rights to the strategy of technology, Silent Draco. We're actually planning to do that. So, um, in fact, I think it's almost, the layout is almost done. So, um, Wrangler Star sends $20. Thanks very much. Um, Alaska Bear says, every day there's a new story about statues or murals being removed. Digital history can be changed in an instant. Exactly. And that's exactly why we are so determined and so focused on print. I don't know if you realize it, but we now actually, because of what we're focused on, we actually sell more print books than we do ebooks. We release the ebooks because it's just part of the game. That's not our focus in any way, shape, or form. And the thing is, we started getting into audiobooks, but Amazon's going to destroy the audiobook market too. So, can you do Summa Theologica? We could, certainly. I'm not sure if it's that necessary because there's so many copies of it out there. I mean, but you know how we work. We're just figuring this out now. We're just doing an early test. Once we get the model figured out, once we find out what level of support there is, and that's why I'm asking you right now, if you want this stuff, if you want either of those first two books, The Missionaries or Summa Theologica, or sorry, Summa Helvetica, in deluxe, leather-bound, etc., shoot me that email, because that will help us figure out how the model works, how to structure the model. Because there's certain elements that we can leave out. Like, for example, if you notice, this 1700s book, it does not have what they call gilding. This collector's edition does. You see how it's kind of gold? And it has the little ribbon. This leather-bound Bible, on the other hand, does not have the gilding, and it does not have the ribbon, but it has the colored plates and all that sort of stuff that you'd expect. So, we need to figure out what price points we can meet, how we can do that, etc., etc. I mean, this is a non-trivial project. It's very doable for us. Does gilding preserve the paper better? I don't believe so. It's possible, but again, this is not gilded, and this is older than the United States of America. So, so one step at a time. And but again, the more that we have initially, like, for example, there's a big difference. I mean, it doesn't sound like a big difference in terms of numbers, but there's a huge difference between if we have 5 people that are interested enough to get the ball rolling versus if we have 25. It is what it is. I'm not saying I only want people to support this if this is something that they really want. I don't want people supporting it just to be supporting it. If that's your mindset, wonderful. Thank you. And please support the junior classics. This other project, it's more important for us to gauge what the legitimate level of interest is, because they're expensive. They're going to be about $100 a piece. So I don't want people. Honda Bear says, are these going to be limited run? We don't know yet. We're I would say assume that they're not, but it's possible that they will be. We just don't know yet. Just got a basic unauthorized subscription. Thanks very much, Peter. What's the difference between basic and premium? One costs $10 a month, the other costs $25 a month. That's the only difference. Again, we don't we don't paywall subscribers. If you subscribe to one thing, you get access to everything. It's about what you choose to support and to what extent. No, there has not been an announcement yet for the Junior Classics campaign. Expect that within 2 weeks. So let's get to the super chats then. Okay. So Marie kicked things off in a big way for the crush. And Bolster did his thing. Thank you. As did Satoshi Bear. Thank you as well. Muffhead said, missed the Portland show. Got an on-call engagement from work. Oh, that's too bad. Had 2 tickets. Any way I can watch the show on unauthorized? Not yet, but once the special is done, you will be able to watch it, although that's not actually the Portland show. That'll, I think, we don't know which show will provide the special, but there are suspicions that it will be Indiana or Ohio. But it could be Idaho. Probably won't be Portland just because of, I was going to say it probably wouldn't be Portland because of the audio issue, but that wouldn't necessarily affect the recording, so we'll see. But I'm sure that I'm sure we'll post footage from the different shows at different times. Knowing Owen will probably post them all in the next 2 weeks. Rhino Bear says, Sabaton. I said thank you the other day because I found them from searching music on your blog. Oh, okay, that's cool. Baby metal, bandmate, etc. You have great taste. I do. I really do. And it's just, sometimes it's amazing to me that that's not more understood and appreciated. I mean, there's nothing like listening to David Sylvian September in September. Kind of a regular tradition. A personal tradition, I guess you might say. Bradley Haas said, the 4th generation warfare lecture was exceptional. I deployed 4 times, and on my second, I knew there was no victory in sight. The lecture gave the why. Exactly. I mean, it's unfortunate that, for so many people, they have to see it in order to understand it because they've never been exposed to this stuff. But Bill Lind explains why our soldiers and our Marines are discovering these things on their own. Daniel Craig says, oh, yeah, we got the, hey, I recently became an unauthorized subscriber. It's the best money I've ever spent. That's awesome. Virgil Hilt said, they come for us, we come for them. That made my day. Rage Against the Machine. Look, it's what it is. It's what it has always been. I don't know why people think that they can just idly threaten our families, our faith, our society, our nation, and our civilization. That doesn't fly. Thomas W. said, should I tell my family about my Christian nationalism? They're churchians of the highest degree. Yeah, I think you should. I mean, I don't think you should go out of your way to do it. I think that when they do their inevitable lecturing, posturing, and posing, you should go ahead and call them on it and then see where the discussion goes. Hey, Vox, what does your average day routine look like? How many hours do you work, research, read, etc.? I don't answer questions like that. I'm really not interested in sharing. Principal says, since books outlast digital, please make books of your blog's most significant stances. We'd probably have to have an editor do that because I don't really like to read my own stuff. You know, I don't like reread my political columns. You know, we've published 2 books worth of my political column. I hope so, but you know, it's not just about things being based in fact qua fact. It's about things being supported by history, being supported by science, being supported by logic, and also, you know, everything intertwining in a harmonizing and holistic manner. Principal Adam Mead says, picked up a vintage set of junior classics and the kids are loving story time. That's excellent. That's, you know, it was kind of funny. Somebody was annoyed with me because apparently the price of these vintage sets has noticeably increased in general since I started talking about them. I find that kind of funny. Anyhow, thanks. I'm looking forward to your additions when finished. Yeah, we'll have news on that soon. I hope. Spearman says, Vox, Southern California is breaking the bank, but feeling that a relocation to my native Alabama, the South, is a copping out and a failure to make it in Cali. OC is looking like Brazil, and it's getting worse. If Alabama is your native land, then there's nothing copping out about returning home. I mean, for crying out loud, it's literally Sweet Home Alabama, right? If I were you, I wouldn't hesitate to leave Southern California and move back to Alabama. Aaron E. says, thanks for posting a recent article on the short-sighted elite. You're welcome. I'm glad to have found your work. Wrangler Star threw in 20 again. Thank you. What makes Steve Keen a good economist? Isn't he a leftist Keynesian? He is. I deeply and profoundly disagree with Steve on a number of issues. He is still, in my opinion, the greatest economist of my lifetime. He has worked out and, more importantly, proven mathematically certain economic facts that call the longest, oldest, most honored assumptions of economics into question and proven them to be false. You know, if you don't understand what it means when I say that Steve Keen has proven that demand is not stackable, I can't hope to explain to you what makes him not just a good economist, but a great economist. But if you want the short answer, what makes him a great economist? He has proven that demand is not stackable. Everything follows from that. Ben Hill says, God bless. Likewise. Defiance Bear asks, do you think the Constitution was good when the spirit of it was in play? I think mostly, but I do understand the perspective that it was actually a betrayal and that the Articles of Constitution were actually better. Is democracy utterly impractical for longer than a generation or two? Yes, although what the Constitution established was not democracy. The whole point of the Constitution was to limit democracy. So most people have just a fundamental misunderstanding of what the Constitution even is, was, or what its purpose was. So, I think the Constitution was generally well intended, but it ceased to serve its purpose very quickly. Principal Bear says, Principal on Insta and Twitter, shameless plug because we are an amazing community. So great meeting everyone at the Portland show. Can't wait to see everyone again. So Bears, if you want to follow some fellow Bears, Principal on Twitter for now. We'll see how long you stay there tweeting things about Owen Benjamin. Paraplegic Bear says, Portland show was great. Crush Fest. That seems to be the general conclusion. That's good. Aaron E. says, strategically, in an effort to press forward and continue to solidify our fractured communities, what would be the best plan to continue down this path? have families, speak the truth. That's the best thing you can do. Probably not a bad idea to make sure that you're reasonably well armed. Do you know of any right-wing organizations which contain real promise to shift the tide? All organizations are either converged, infiltrated, or whatever. No, I don't trust organizations. Now, granted, that's kind of my natural inclination, is just to not trust organizations, but I especially don't trust any political organizations because they all get infiltrated, corrupted, and converged. Spearman says, I was watching the Auburn football game on Saturday. CBS panned the crowd, and I noticed how much better looking both girls and guys in Alabama are versus those I see in California. Nuts. It's dysgenic here. Yeah, that's just kind of crazy because California, the image that it still sells is that image of the 50s of, you know, better looking, healthier, happier people out in California in the beautiful landscape. But it's not the case anymore. So go back home, Spearman. It sounds like you'll be happier. Daniel Pereira says, voting for Trudeau, our first PM of color. So brave. Thank you for this. Welder Bear says, hey Vox, was it Berenstain Bears or Berenstein Bears? It was Brenstein Bears. It was Berenstein Bears. That whole S-T-A-I-N, I don't buy it for a second. I think it's a 5 lights, 4 lights thing, frankly. So, although I don't fault anyone who just remembers it, you know, or doesn't remember it, you know. So, any interesting lesser-known war heroes? My favorites are Leo Major and Simoheha. Yeah, there's lots. My favorite is the Sigma cavalry officer under Wellington, as well as the crazy English lieutenant who went 200. It was during the Mahdi War, I think it was, and he went 200 miles up the Nile River and demanded the surrender of a fortress with like 20 guys, and they surrendered to him. Just crazy. So, will Europe ever have gun rights if our problems with third worlders get worse? I don't know whether they'll ever have officially granted gun rights, but I'm sure they're going to take them. So, all right. Well, that's all I have for tonight. So again, keep crushing. I'm sure we're all interested to hear how it went. If any of you are at the Idaho show, let us know how it went. Looking forward to hearing about it. We'll probably talk about how it went tomorrow. And again, if you're interested in either the missionaries or Summa Helvetica in deluxe leather, shoot me an email. Otherwise, just keep crushing. Speak the truth. We'll see you soon. This is the Darkstream, and I am Vox Day.